how we came here?
Yes.
Oh, here comes an argument.
Yes.
Tell me from your first memory, and then bring me to today.
My dad said that. Isn't that?
No. No, but he was telling you about how your family came.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Tell us like the story of how our family came to this country.
Happy holiday.
Well, by the time I was 7, the Soviets were invading the second time.
Oh.
Wait a minute, guys, quiet. God is telling a very important story.
Okay.
Sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay.
By the time I was 7, the Soviets were invading Latvia for the second time. And
Keeps walking.
our apartment, when the Germans were in for a year, there was a German soldier with a gun. And when the Soviets were there, there was a Soviet soldier with a gun. So it was not very pleasant for my dad, and he couldn't so much as go to the bathroom without that. And so what happened was the Soviets came in, and then the Germans came in, and then the Soviets came in again. Right? So during the time, just prior to the second invasion of the Soviets, a Latvian communist came to my dad. And there were many communists who were Latvian. Came to my dad, and he worked in the factory that my dad ran. And he said, "Get your family out, because your wife is on a list. You are on another list. Your children will be in an orphanage. They will change their names, and you will never find them again." So my dad got Tanya, her mom, my mother, Marina, Chichelida, Uncle Sta, Roma, and Ale. He got them onto a truck, 2 trucks, to get us to the Baltic Sea and put us on one of those boats that dredged the bottom of the Baltic.
What was Diedushka's job at that time? He was working in it was a marmalade factory or
He
something?
was an executive director of the marmalade factory. Not only, it was a cannery, it was
Yeah, they processed seafood too, didn't they, Mom?
processed seafood, chocolate.
Chocolate, delicacies.
Well, not just I was telling Baba recently how I had a lot of fun when I was very little. I would go with Dedushka to the factory on Sunday, and they would bring in a huge dump truck full of raspberries and strawberries and just dump it. You could imagine, like cement or sand. There were all these strawberries. Anyway, so we crossed the Baltic, and the idea was, one of the co-owners of this factory was German of Russian descent, and who was a friend of my dad's, and he was going to meet us. I was like going from the frying pan into the fire, I don't know which was worse. And so when we disembarked, we were met by German soldiers and put into a labor camp. Fortunately, not a concentration camp, but a labor camp. And it was horrific because nobody spoke German in my family, and it was really terrible.
Your mom didn't?
But Papa spoke German.
Papa wasn't with us.
Oh, right.
Mom, your mom didn't speak German?
No,
Not yet.
a word.
Not yet.
Not
This
a
was
word.
1943?
44.
44. And only, and thank God, 2 weeks later, this Mr. Schultz found us, got us out, thank God. And there were so many of us, so he found us, so he put us into one of his factories. The factory happened to have been on the harbor, and that's the first thing the Allies bombed. So every night we would be bombed by the Allies. And
We were in a bunker.
we'd run to the bunker.
My
and-
first memory of life.
Yeah, yeah.
It's true.
And Mama fell right on top of you, trying to protect him. Her
Yeah.
whole body was filled with shrapnel.
And Mom, this was in Dansk? Or
This
is
is
where?
in Gottenhof in the beginning.
Right.
And then
Which is
after
Poland,
about
right?
2 months, this is
Poland?
Poland, it became Germany, it became,
It's Poland now, isn't it?
it's now Poland. Yeah.
northeastern Poland.
What
Yeah.
kind of town? Oh, good day. Yeah.
I'm
Well,
trying to
Have
be
some coffee,
good.
Bob?
And Tanya, you correct me, because you remember. And a few months later, my mother had like 2 brothers and 7 sisters, or 6 sisters, one of whom at the age of 16 fell in love with a German soldier and ran
That's
off
your
with him
friend.
to Germany. And so she lived in Gdańsk, and he was away in the army, and so she said, come on, I have a big apartment, you can stay here until Senior arrives, until my dad arrives.
Przedłużenie.
Yeah. And we had the greatest time because there were a lot of kids in the apartment.
She's not the
And,
one who married the really creepy guy.
yeah, she did,
Oh, very creepy.
very creepy. This guy used to take his kids to watch executions of Jews. They'd come home totally hysterical.
Coffee.
And when they got older, the oldest son finally took an axe and went after the father. He was really trying to do the
He was demented.
You ruined
Who is that?
the whole life.
Dr.
Heinz.
Rolf.
No, not Rolf, Heinz. The
Heinz.
other one.
Wait a minute. No, but what was his name?
Heinz. Booby.
No, what was the father's name?
Oh, he was a Rolf.
That's what I'm saying.
What are the names of all the sisters?
Ah, okay.
Klava.
No, let's start from the beginning. Come on. Nina, Zina, Nadya. Nina, Zina, Nadya.
Klava.
Lena.
Ziga.
Klava.
Vera.
Dядя Жоржик.
Vera.
Dядя Боря, Vera. Tell me somebody.
Lida? We got Lida?
Nina Zina.
We did Nina Zina. So there was
Ziga.
Ziga is the wife of Dядя Боря.
Yeah, I think Nadia died.
Nadya died. Nadya
One
was
died.
little.
The 2 children died altogether.
No, what?
There were 9 and 7 survived. Mama was told.
I don't know who else
One
died.
little girl died. She
Oh,
fell.
that was not.
There was one other child that died.
That's my grandmother's sister.
She told me there were 9 and
Well, that would be nice.
I just know 9, but 2 died because 7 were left over. I can't remember now, but I know 2 died. But anyway, go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
So my father left Latvia on probably the last similar boat that was cleaning the bottom. I mean, when Latvia was being bombed this time by Soviets.
You forgot to say that he was going to be sent to Siberia. Oh, yeah, you did say that, didn't you? Yeah. Okay.
He joined us in Danzig, and a short while later, got a letter from his Karaim friends in Wangen and Mongo. They said, Sultan, come down here, they're not shooting anybody here. And we got on this train. This was really horrific because it reminds me of movies of India, where everybody's running to get the last train out. And my greatest fear was that Papa would let go of my hand because Mama had Marina in her one hand and a baby bottle in the other. And he had 2 suitcases, so I had to hang on
To him.
And the suitcase. It was terrible. It was so frightening. Finally, he got me onto the train, jumped onto the train. We had 2 suitcases. We lost everything.
Yes.
And when we got to where we were going and opened the suitcases, the only thing that was in there were photographs, which turned out to be the most precious thing eventually, right?
Not all of them. We lost a lot of
We
them, but at
lost
least
a lot
some.
of them, but the huge suitcase full of photographs. And another,
Tablecloth that later she sold
yeah.
for butter and milk
Yeah.
and eggs.
and our great-grandmothers were renowned for doing beautiful needlepoint. And they used to do this exquisite tablecloth work. And so when we got to Germany, my father, who was the only one who spoke German, he went to work for a farmer, and he sold the tablecloths to the farmer's wife. And
In exchange for food,
Yeah, they gave
eggs,
us some-
butter, milk.
milk, and